to 16, investigation 1. And you should have been able to construct the first triangle, but not the second triangle. And so what that leads us to today is our first conjecture. And that is the conjecture from the book. And so if you look at this, it says the sum of the lengths of any two sides of a triangle is greater than the length of the third side. Okay, the sum of the lengths of any two sides of a triangle is greater than the length of the third side. So essentially what that means is that if you take your two shortest sides in a triangle, okay, and you put them together end to end, that should be longer than the longest side of the triangle. Okay? So let's say that again. If you take the two shortest sides and you add their lengths together, that is going to be longer than the third side. So we have another conjecture we're going to talk about, and then we're going to look at some examples. In a triangle, if one side is longer than another side, then the angle opposite the longer side is larger than the angle opposite the shorter side. And once again, we'll talk about that. I'll let you get that written down. So really what that statement means, the largest angle is always opposite the largest side. The smallest angle in a triangle is always opposite the smallest side. And the medium-sized angle is always opposite the medium-sized side. So they go in proportion. Largest angle, largest side. Smallest angle, smallest side. Alrighty, so on the next slide, we're going to go ahead and look at a few examples. So let's go ahead and look at this. Determine whether it is possible to draw a triangle with sides having the given measures. So let's think back to what we talked about with that conjecture. Remember what I said, you take the two what sides? Smallest sides. So my two smallest sides here will be the 6 and the 7. And what am I going to do with those?
Add.
I'm going to add them up. So if I add 6 plus 7, what do I get?
13.
13, good. And so I'm going to compare that to the 15. Will I be able to construct a triangle here?
No.
No. Why not? Because it's smaller, right. The only way I'll be able to have a triangle is if this number here, this 13, is bigger than the third side. Okay? So let's look at the next one. I take my two smallest sides, which in this case are the 2.5, oops, sorry, I gotta get the highlighter. The 2.5 and the 3.5. Okay, what do you do with those? Add them together, and so what do I get? 6. Am I going to be able to get a triangle or not?
No.
No, because it has to be greater than. It cannot be equal to. Let's look at the last one. What are you going to add?
4.
The 4 and the 6. When you add the 4 and the 6, what do you get? 10. Compare the 10 with the 9. Will I be able to get a triangle?
Yes.
Yes, that's all you do. Okay? All you have to do is add the two smallest sides. If it's bigger than the third side, you get a triangle. Okay, let's look at this. It says, use the conjectures to arrange the unknown measures in order from greatest to least. So in this first diagram, I'm going to be trying to order the angles. So the easy way to do this is to look at the sides. What is the largest side? 20. What is the smallest side? 13. What is the medium-sized side? 18. So now I need to order these angles in the exact same order. So if I look here, 20 is opposite angle B. So angle B has to be the largest angle. Okay? Next side, medium side, is opposite angle A. So that's going to go next. And what's the smallest angle going to be? C. There you go. That's all you do. It might help to go ahead and label the sides or the angles with like a large, medium, small. All right, let's look at the next one. What do you need to do in that next one? Figure out the third angle. So to figure out the third angle, remember I just take 180 minus 60 minus 25, and what do you get? 95. Very good. So let's go ahead and order these angles. What's the largest angle? Largest angle is 95. What's the medium angle? 60 and small. So let's go ahead and order these from greatest to least. What do you have? A, B, C. Nice job. So those two aren't real bad, right? Let's look at this one. Now this one I've written some steps down, okay, that are kind of going to help us here. And so if you look, it says fill in the missing angles. So we're going to do that. So let's look. First of all, they tell us these lines are parallel. Okay, so what do I know about these two angles here with the tick marks? They're equal to what?
Each other.
Okay, each other. And what else are they equal to?
71.
What'd you say? 28, because what type of angles are they? Alternate interior angles. Notice those angles I've just highlighted in purple. Two parallel lines cut by a transversal. Your alternate interior angles are congruent. So I've got 28 and 28. Okay. What else do I know?
Why isn't it like vice versa?
71. It doesn't work because they aren't the B and D are not parallel. Okay. I know that 40 is the same as what? The bottom one right here. So this one is 40. Okay, so let's start filling in some other angles. What would be this angle right up here? 112. Nice, because that's a triangle. So if that one's 112, then this one's 112. So what are these angles right here going to be? 68. Good. And then let's get the missing angles here. What's this angle going to be?
41.
It is 41 because you take your two angles, subtract them from 180. And what about this angle up here?
That was 84.
84. Okay, so we filled in some missing angles, and that can kind of help us. Now what I'm going to do is look at some big triangles. I'm not going to look at the little triangles. It says compare A and D. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to look at a big triangle that just has A and D. So I'm going to look right now at this big triangle. Do you see that big triangle? Okay, and I'm going to compare A and D. So A is opposite what angle? 84 degrees. D is opposite what angle? 40. So let's compare the two. Which one's bigger? A. So A is bigger than D. Okay. Now I'm also going to compare B and C using a big triangle. So I'm going to draw this triangle in right here. Okay. Oops, there we go. All right. So B is opposite what angle? 40. C is opposite what angle? 41. So which one is bigger? So C is bigger than B. Okay? So now let's look at the next step. Compare A and B. So I got to draw a big triangle with A and B. So let's do this one with the other diagonal right here. A is opposite what? 71. B is opposite what?
28.
So A is bigger than B. Okay? And then the next one, I need to compare C and D. So compare C and D, I'm going to look at this triangle right here. What do you know about C?
Opposite.
D. Oh, so they're what? Equal. So now we got to order these. From looking at those individual comparisons, which is the biggest one? A. Okay. What comes next? What comes next?
It's an underline. There's a line under it.
Huh?
Or greater than or equal to.
Okay, it's not greater than or equal to.
Oh,
A is the
okay.
biggest though. Okay.
C.
What comes next? So we have B, C, or D.
C.
Okay, let's make it easy. What's the smallest of all of them?
D.
What's the smallest of all of them?
B.
B. Okay. What about the C and the D? What order does that go? They're equal, right? So really in here, I know that they're kind of the same. So I could put C equals D. Another way I could list this is I could put C comma D. But the order is that A is bigger than C and D. They kind of share. And then they are bigger than B. Okay. Okay. So let's go ahead. And the last thing we're going to talk about is not going to take us a long time. And that's what is known as about exterior angles. So if you notice here, we've got an exterior angle. We've got the two remote interior angles. Okay. And so we're going to look here at this black triangle here with the measures. And I want you to look at that triangle. And when you look at that triangle, I want you to find for me this purple angle. What's that purple angle? What'd you get? 60. So if that angle is 60, what is x? 120. Now I want you to think about something here. Is there a way that I could get the 120 without finding the 60 first? Yeah. So if I add 25 and 95, do I get 120? Yeah, and that's actually a true statement. To find the exterior angle in any triangle, if you add the two remote interior angles, you'll get it. So here's your conjecture. The measure of an exterior angle of a triangle is equal to the sum of the measures of the remote interior angles. The measure of an exterior angle of a triangle is equal to the sum of the measures of the remote interior angles. So once you get that down, we'll look at an example, and then that's it for today. All right, so let's look at an example here. We need to find what x is. So let's think about that. I know that 142 has to equal what? X plus 66, that's right. So how do I solve that? Yep, from both sides. And so what does x equal? $76. Now, is that the only way to solve that? And the answer is no. That is not the only way to solve that. What you could do is take 142, subtract that from 180, and you could get this to be 38. And then you could take 180 minus those, and that should give you 76 as well. So that's not the only way. It's the most efficient way, though, and it'll save you the least amount of time. So with that in mind, let's talk about what we learned. We learned about the three sides in a triangle, okay? Measure of the two shortest has to be greater than the measure of the third for it to be a triangle. We've also talked about ordering. The order of the sides in terms of length also fits with the angles. And then last but not least, we've learned about this remote interior angle conjecture. And so here you go. On pages 218 through 219, you need to do 1 through 16. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. If you actually utilize your time, this should not take you very long. You'll probably be able to get it done in the class period.